Good morning, I'm Lori Fitzgerald, Chief of Pharmacy, and I'm going to show you guys how to efficiently draw up 10 doses of Moderna vaccine. So, first of all, we're going to gather our supplies. So most of these things will be provided by pharmacy. A lot of it comes within the kit that we get with the vaccine, especially the needles and syringes. So to be efficient, you can definitely use the needles and syringes and drop one dose at a time, but that will slow you down in your clinic. So I would like to show you how we do it in pharmacy so that you can be a lot quicker with the process. So these needles and syringes of various types will come in the kits with the vaccine. We usually like to take time to take them all out of the packaging and separate the needles from the syringes in batches of 10, because you'll get 10 doses out of each vial. This is the vaccine. As you can see, it's kind of a cloudy vaccine. You want to take a look at it, make sure it's completely thawed. Never shake it or be really rough with it. It's more like a swirling or a slight back and forth motion. Okay, you want to have the vaccine, you want to have your 10 needles and syringes, alcohol pads. Of course, clean your area before you start. That's kind of a given. We will provide labels to you. We'll also provide the lot number, and this is a little sticker that goes on the veteran's card. So we'll provide that with each batch when you're doing that. Some of the things that you'll need to get from pharmacy that don't come in the kits is a 10 ml syringe, a 22 gauge needle, and then this is the transfer device. It's we call it the red cap, which makes things much easier. Okay, so to take all the doses out of the vial, we're going to pop the top and clean with an alcohol swab, and then you can kind of just lay it there. So this is and then I'll kind of unwrap all of these things. So this is the transfer, the red cap. It does have a cap on it, so it's okay to set it here, and it'll be clean enough and sterile enough. We got the 10 ml syringe that we'll take out, and then this is the needle that we're going to extract the doses with, and we found that using this 22 gauge needle will help you get extra doses. So this is the syringe we're going to extract the doses with the needle, the 22 gauge needle. So we're going to draw the syringe back to 6.5 ml, because we're going to inject some air into the vial so we can get every last bit out of it. Take the cap off, put the bevel the right direction so you can go into the vial.
So bevel up?
Bevel up,
okay.
Thank you. And then it's slowly, so you don't want to disrupt the vaccine a lot, so we're going to slowly put the air in. You might have to and draw that up. Are we okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. And let it kind of suck itself into the syringe. Kind of bring the needle down as the volume decreases so that you can get every last bit out of the vial.
So Lori, with that air that you pushed in, you're not pulling really hard, right?
It's kind of doing it on its own from the pressure from the vial. So as you can see, and I've drawn it back so that you just are getting air to make sure we've got everything that we need out of there. Because there will be some residual, of course, but there's a little bit of overfill. So we don't, the training says don't flick it too hard to get the air out. So I'm going to push it up, not all the way. Right. Don't want to spurt any vaccine out, but get it up towards the top.
Okay.
Okay. Then I'm going to carefully recap this needle. Don't stick yourself, and take it off. Okay. And then we're going to apply the red cap. So it's lure locks on each end so that you can connect two syringes. So this is just the white cap. So hold on to it. You've attached it to this syringe. Unscrew the cap. And now you're ready to start drawing up doses. I like to kind of pull this back. These get a little sticky, so pull these back and attach it. Hold on to it so it's there. Now turn it upside down. And the dose is 0.5 ml. So these syringes will say 0.5, Or they might say half a mil. All the syringes in the kits are different every time they come. So then we want to push it back to the top of the plunger is at the 0.5. And then I'm holding on to the red and unscrew it. Not from there, sorry. Unscrew this one. So just so the cap doesn't come off, because then you might get some leakage. So then this is all ready to go. Try to do it in one hand. And then find your needle. They come with safety needles, and just attach that. And then that dose is ready to go. And then I would lay it to the side, and we'll do the labeling at the end. I'll do one more, and then we'll label. So like I said, I like to get that unstuck. Hold on to the red thing while you attach it with a red cap. Pull it down. Don't flick it too much. I mean, I wouldn't worry if you have much, unless you have a giant air bubble, don't flick it too much. Just draw it back down and get it right at the 0.5. Unscrew it. Attach the needle. And make sure when you attach the needle that it's tightly on, like it's threaded properly and tight. We've had some instances where if it wasn't screwed on tightly, we might lose some doses and the veteran doesn't get the whole dose. So I'm gonna lay that down. So we'll put this here. We can put the cap back on it actually to keep it safe. We'll lay it here just for a minute. So these are labels that pharmacy has printed. It has the name of the vaccine, when it expires. So I'm gonna write on there. So once you draw it up, once you puncture the vial and draw it up into the syringe, it's only good for 6 hours. So check your watch, and you're gonna have to write down, I don't have a pen at the moment, write down that it will be 6 hours from right now that it expires. And then it'll have the name of the vaccine and the lot number. So it'll say today's date and then at. So right now it's 7:25, so it'll be like 1, I'll just say 1 o'clock today, this expires. But we'll have used it long before that. So we just take...
So the time you're putting on the label is the expiration time, not the drawn up.
Exactly.
Okay.
So 6 hours from when you drew it, from when you punctured that vial.
Okay.
And then we just take these off. And I just kind of line it up underneath where the dose is. And then we flag it, which is what we call in pharmacy, and just get it stuck together. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then it's ready to go. And I guess I would say if you as a nurse were going to take one syringe, puncture and draw it up, and then give it right away, you don't have to label it because you're controlling it the whole time. But if you're gonna do it in a batch situation like I'm showing you, then you need to label all of them afterwards. So it is a protein, it's an mRNA protein vaccine, and you could degrade the proteins that are in that, and you can tell they're in there because it's cloudy, kind of like insulin, for example, and you don't want to shake up insulin or disrupt it too much. So we're just trying to be careful with it so that it's as potent as it can be. So if you're at your location, when we draw the doses up, we keep them all together. So if you have a Ziploc or a little container, because we go by doses of 10, and then we'll also send a green sheet with, at least for now, a green sheet, which is a tracking mechanism. So we keep track of every dose, write down every veteran for each 10 syringes. So you can put it in a Ziploc or a little bucket, whatever you have, the 10 doses, the green sheet, and then the lot number that goes with it that will go on the veteran's card. So keeping everything together will help you in being efficient with those dosages.
So probably best to work on one vial, one set of 10 syringes, 10 labels, so that you don't mix.
Absolutely, because we're now at the point where we're maybe mixing lots. So for a big event, we might have 2 or 3 different lots. So yeah, you want to always keep, the lot numbers with that vial so you can be sure to document it properly on the card. Absolutely. I feel like, you know, an extra dose is a bonus. Let's use it. We may not get an extra dose the next time that event occurs, but, you know, we have to do the best we can. So if you, and it needs to be, you'll know. So you'll definitely get 10 syringes, and then you might see when you're at the end, you know, we consistently get an extra 0.4. But the dose is 0.5, so you always want to be sure that you have for sure 0.5. But when we get that, we easily get it. And we've been getting maybe 3 to 6 extra doses for an event of like 200 vaccines. So just keep an eye, and you'll need an extra syringe. You'll see that, oh, this looks like I might get an extra out of that. Get another syringe and needle, and make sure, you know, draw it up, and if it's right on, then excellent, use it. And if it's not, pitch it into the sharps container. So if you do end up getting an extra dose out of a vial, or you have some extra vaccine, you can't use another vial to make it be a full dose of 0.5. So whatever you get out of one vial is all you can get. So when we deliver the vaccine, it needs to be transported properly. So it will come in a transport cooler that maintains refrigerator temperature. It's best to transport it frozen, but we want it to get there in time at the clinic so that it's thawed and that we can start using it right away. So pharmacy has been taking it out frozen, putting it in the transport cooler with a refrigerator temperature, and then by the time it gets to the clinic, it's thawed. And you will keep vaccine in the cooler until you need it. So you wouldn't want to take all of them out, have them all at room temperature, until you know you're going to use them all. So we usually start with, you know, 50 doses to start, see how the process goes, then take a couple more, and as the day winds down, you know, leave the vaccine in the cooler and only take what you need based on how many people have showed up. So when we receive the vaccine, it's frozen, and we put it into our freezer, and we check the expiration date, which is usually 6 months after they ship it. That's how they're deciding expiration date. But if you could keep it frozen, it will be good for 6 months at least. Once you move it from frozen to refrigerator and thaw it out, it's good for 28 days. And then once we take it out of the fridge and have it at room temperature, it can be out for 12 hours. But once the vial is punctured and you draw it into syringe, it's only good for 6 hours. If you have any questions while drawing up, or how to label, or any questions about the vaccine, or any concerns you might have, please call the pharmacy. I would call 406-447-7575 with any questions, or 7571, and they will find a pharmacist. Or you can also ask your PACT pharmacist. We're training all the PACT pharmacists to be able to do this same process, and they can assist.